I feel like going up this steep hill is a pretty good place to show the power and handling. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over the 5 things that I love about the new CX-30 and the 5 things that I don't exactly like about the CX-30. Pretty self-explanatory. Let's get straight into the video. So the first thing that I love about the new 2021 Mazda CX-30 Turbo is the lighting. Let's start things off from the rear end perspective. So first off, I just love how clean the lights look like when they're on, and even when they're off, they still look good. But when they're on, especially, just all of the design and detail touches that went into the taillights, I think look absolutely fantastic. And the headlights, no different. So got to take a little stroll, and yes, same exact thing. So just notice just the attention to detail with the whole lighting system. Just looks really good. And then I love this here at the bottom there with the turn signals. I think that just looks really cool overall. But yeah, just from a lighting perspective, it looks really good. Now the number 2 thing that I love is the interior. Well, let's of course open up all of the doors. Okay, we'll start here with the back. So first off, you guys have seen this from my review with the door panel. I think material use is just top notch here in the rear. And then the seats as well. And sorry if they're a little bit dirty. You guys remember I took this off-road and yeah, cleaned it as best as I could for this video. But yeah, I just love the overall look of the seats. Material-wise, really good. And even the backs of the front seats, you still have the leather on it, which is just definitely nice. But the best part's definitely with the front end. So again, the door panel is pretty much the same as the rear in terms of material use and design. And then the seats, again, pretty similar to the back ones in terms of material use and design. But once you actually pop into the cockpit, I just think it looks absolutely fantastic. All of the buttons that you touch, definitely nice material wise. The shifter's nice. Even the little sport mode button feels nice. And all these controls down here for the infotainment system feel nice. These are definitely plasticky, but again, the actuation on them doesn't feel bad, I would say, by any means. And then the whole dash, we've got soft touch stitching and all that kind of stuff. Just overall, like I said, material use and then design on it's really nice, because notice here, it kind of connects there. And oh, sorry about the sunlight, it's hard to see. You can see it connects there with the dash and the door panel with the line and everything. It just looks really good. So yeah, Mazda nailed it with the interior from a design perspective and from a material use perspective. Now the number 3 thing has to do with the safety tech. Ooh. So I'll make this point pretty short. We've got blind spot monitoring. We've got adaptive cruise control. It also comes with lane keep assist. You can see we've got that little thing there for the safety tech. And then we've got the camera button. Press that. We've got the front camera. We've got more views. You got the side views, bird's eye view, backup camera, parking sensors on top of that. And when you pull up to something, if you get close to it, the front camera automatically turns on. And so yeah, it just has all the normal modern safety tech at a very reasonable price point. And so definitely one of the things I love about it. Now the 4th thing actually pertains to the price. Okay, I know, I'm going to hear a bunch of people are going to say that this is overpriced. I could not disagree more. It's $35,000. The average price of a brand new car nowadays is almost $40,000. So this is $5,000 less expensive than the average price of a brand new car. And for that price, you're getting a car that has a ton of safety tech, a beautiful interior, really nice exterior styling. It has all-wheel drive, a fast turbocharged engine, great handling characteristics. It's just a really good package overall. And again, it's $5,000 less expensive than the price of an average new car. And so from my perspective, it's a really good value because you're getting so much car for the money. And so yeah, I know $35,000 to some people sounds like a lot, but for how much car you're getting, it's really not. Now the next thing that I love is the power and the handling. So let's take it out and drive it. I feel like going up this steep hill is a pretty good place to show the power and handling. This thing is definitely quick. Like, I've been driving it for, I mean, pretty much a week at this point, and I've never been in a situation where I'm like, dang, I wish this thing was faster. Like, it has so much power. It's such a small little SUV. And again, on premium gas, it's got like 250 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. It's quick. Like, it is very quick, and like you just never get in a situation where you're like, geez, I need more power. And then the handling's great. There isn't a massive amount of steering feel, so like think like Mazda Miata. That's like amazing steering feel for an electric power rack. But here with the CX-30, you don't get nearly as much feel as the Miata. You do get a good amount of directness though with the steering rack. Like, I mean, you guys can see, like, you turn in inputs, like it's very direct. Again, for an SUV, like lifted hatchback, whatever you want to call it, that's kind of what I've deemed this as, the lifted hatchback. And yeah, it does a really good job. And so if you're looking at something like this, then I would definitely check this out if you kind of like sportier vehicles. If you want something that's faster, has better handling, that's actually enjoyable to drive, that's not just an A to B type vehicle. Now that we've gone over the 5 things that I love, let's quickly get into the 5 things that I don't exactly love about the CX-30. Now, the first thing is going to be the lack of sound with the CX-30. Now, here's what I mean by lack of sound. You guys probably already heard it because we just drove the car, and it just doesn't really have a ton of sound. Even in the sport mode, like you put it in sport mode, it doesn't do anything. Like, it's not like a bad sound, but I don't know, for being a sporty turbocharged version of the CX-30, I wish that they had something a little bit extra, or maybe like an exhaust package you could get from the factory. I think that would be cool. But yeah, definitely I think it just needs a little bit more sound to kind of go with the overall sporty theme of this particular car. Now, the number 2 thing has to do with the stability control. Okay, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below how stupid I am, but I've been with this car for several days and I cannot find a button to turn off the stability control. I've checked the infotainment system, I've checked the climate control area, I've checked the whole shifter area, steering wheel, light stock, windshield wiper stock. I mean, you have this button that turns off safety tech, but I mean, I'm not sure if that's exactly connected to the stability control. And there's a blank switch here, but like there's not a button that has like the swervy car on it so I can turn off the stability control. And I know that's a silly complaint, but hear me out. If it snows, or in my case where I took this off-road, and I really didn't have any issues. You guys saw in the off-road review, I didn't have any issues with the car just like cutting power or mass amount. So they have done a good job with tuning it, obviously. But I mean, for my personal preference, if I'm off-road or if I'm in snow, I don't want the stability control. I don't want it to cut power. It's super annoying. And I don't know, like I said, let me know if I'm just stupid in the comment section below, but I can't find a button. I've looked like literally everywhere in this car. I mean, even up top here, like I don't know. There's not a button. I can't find a button. If you know where the button is, let me know. But yes, that's another point. Now, the number 3 thing has to do with the fact that it doesn't have a touchscreen. Well, this is pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. We have this infotainment system. You control it via this little dial thing, but it's not a touchscreen. I wish it was a touchscreen, and well, that's all. Let's go to the next point. Now, the number 4 point has to do with the fact that it has a lighter colored headliner. Again, we're going to look at the interior, and like I said, I really love the overall theme and makeup of the interior, but notice that the whole bottom portion of the interior either has kind of like a dark brown for the leather, or it has black leather, right? So it all matches. And then you pop up to the headliner and it's just cream colored. They should have just done a black headliner so that it all kind of like tied in together. Again, this isn't a huge deal, but I mean, with the rest of the car being black and brown, it would have been nice if it kind of all tied in together. Then the 5th thing has to do with the torque steer of the CX-30, so let's take it out and drive it again. Now, one of the things that I don't love about the CX-30 is the torque steer. I feel like that was a pretty good example. Like, you get quite a bit of torque steer with the CX-30. Like, it doesn't slip out or anything like that, but you definitely have to be paying attention when you floor it, because you get just so much tug on the steering wheel. And I mean, it's not a huge deal. It's just like, I don't know. I definitely, I'm like most people, I kind of like the more rear biased feeling where you kind of oversteer a little bit. You don't get the crazy torque steer that this gets. And so, yeah, it's not a huge deal, but when you floor it from a standstill, you do get some torque steer. At higher speeds, it pretty much goes away, but sometimes it'll still kind of do it, and hopefully I can show you guys up here in just a second. Okay, so this is another place where we can kind of see the low speed torque steer. So you guys can see low speed torque steer right there. And now we'll kind of, I mean, we're not crazy high, we're about 30 miles an hour. I'll go a little bit higher than that, so we'll go up to like 35. And again, it pretty much goes away. Like, there's still a little bit, but it pretty much goes away. And this is why I call them slow brews. The speed limit's 50 miles an hour, and this person's going for like less than 40. Slow baroos. Slow baroos, slow baroos. Now let's get some things up for a video about the 5 things that I love about the 2021 CX-30 Turbo and the 5 things that I don't exactly love about the CX-30 Turbo. As always, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you think, and I'll see all of you in the next video.